Hey guys, Flamengo greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just joining us, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on notifications by clicking the bell, and drop a like on the video. We're here thanks to Caravana do Haroldo, and remember, you can secure your spot at Flamengo's games with Caravana do Haroldo. Games in Rio, in Brazil, and around the world, anywhere in the Americas. You can follow the Libertadores, Copa do Brasil, and Brasileirão with Caravana do Haroldo in Rio de Janeiro, with tickets included and fantastic hospitality from Caravana do Haroldo. This one won't let you down, man. We're here and we've got a lot of information to bring you, man. Oh, cara, there are Flamengo fans who are upset because they think it might mess up the field schedule a bit, the quality of the pitch, and Flamengo's game schedule, but it generates revenue. So, don't. Starting in January 2027, Maracanã will be reintegrated into the circuit of major events in Brazil, mega shows, starting in January 2027. The operation will be under the responsibility of 30E, which is preparing the stadium to host major productions with international standards. The modernization will put Maracanã on the same level as arenas like Allianz Parque and Arena da Baixada. Regarding concerts, this will consolidate the country as a frequent stop for global tours and expand the event calendar in Rio. But obviously, the fans are giving us one more reason to start building our own stadium. We need to win everything this year so that next year we just keep the squad and spend on the stadium. Fabio Simão already has synthetic turf. People are saying, man, that's weird. It's looking like Palmeiras. Are you kidding me? The field isn't great as it is, and now they're going to try this too. Flamengo urgently needs its own stadium, man. The fans were outraged, and it's no wonder fans get worried. Flamengo needs a stadium with real grass. If we have to have our own stadium, they're going to ruin the field. It's a joke. It must be they're going to mess up the grass. Terrible. So the fans are all really upset because you didn't see a single positive comment about Maracanã being used as a venue for international shows, for big concerts. Flamengo, here's some really spectacular news. The players got some extra motivation for the game against Bahia. Flamengo is trying to get closer to the top, trying to stay in the top four, and looking to take the lead whenever possible. Palmeiras has to slip up, or Flamengo has to win both games they have against Palmeiras. Flamengo is 3 points behind Palmeiras, 6 points, but they have one game in hand. And Flamengo only depends on winning their direct match against Palmeiras. Actually, there are two matches. If they win both, they go 3 points ahead, and that's what they're afraid of. But Flamengo then got an extra boost. Yeah, that's what they're aiming for. Yeah, the fight for the Brazilian Championship, the Copa do Brasil, the Libertadores, this stretch with all three competitions, right? The club paid out the bonuses related to the 2025 Série A Brazilian Championship and the 2026 Carioca Championship to its players. So that's the bonus, right? Bonuses were paid to Flamengo's players. In addition, last Thursday, the Red and Black squad signed the paperwork with Safeage, regularizing bureaucratic matters related to the category in the state of Rio de Janeiro. This measure reinforces the club's commitment, its financial and institutional obligations to the players. Okay, so Flamengo is getting more and more organized, right? With everything in order. I've already told you, paying off all the debts and now even settling the bonuses with the players. At a time like this, there are a lot of clubs that go 2 or 3 years without paying anyone, but not Flamengo. Flamengo pays the players bonuses, and that's very important, okay? We also have important information here about BAP. Reuniu executivos with impressive resumes in its management to make Flamengo the Real Madrid of the Americas. Not some shoppy knockoff, no, it's of the Americas, and the shoppy one you already know, right? Flamengo gave an incredible response to Leila Pereira. Leila Pereira's shot backfired, okay? But look, Globo, CBF, CONMEBOL, Kobe, Google, Petrobras, and the Rio government are part of the impressive credentials assembled by Luiz Eduardo Baptista, BAP, in his management team. With the goal of taking Flamengo to the level of the Real Madrid of the Americas, he never said Flamengo will just be Flamengo. He aims for it to be the Real Madrid of the Americas. Leila Pereira, who talks nonsense, if she doesn't aim for that, that's her problem. In February, Flamengo announced Marcelo Campos Pinto to represent them in Libra. A former Globo executive, he played a central role in the broadcasting contracts. Soccer, okay? BP is also already envisioning a scenario where Flamengo negotiates its own TV rights, similar to the major streaming platforms. In management, Marcos Mota leads the administrative area with experience at CAS and in negotiations such as Neymar's transfer to PSG. As for Maracanã, it is now managed by Fred Nant, formerly of CONMEBOL, who established the partnership with 30E for musical events. Come on, man, that was about making money. Are the fans complaining about that? For me, it's nothing special financially, yes, but I'll tell you, I get worried. Sport-wise, Flamengo needs to have the Maracanã available to it. Yeah, The concession, Flamengo has the right to use it. It's Flamengo's for 20 plus 20 years. So, for those who say otherwise, yes, there's a stadium. Botafogo also has Engenhão there. It has nothing to do with it.
Tem nada a ver.
Flamengo is guaranteed that Flamengo and Fluminense games will not be affected. So the important news is about the agreement that Fred Nantz made. He used to be with CONMEBOL, and now he's also taking care of this issue. Maracanã events and everything else. He's now the CEO of Maracanã. Fred Nant, so he closed this deal so it doesn't affect Flamengo and Fluminense games, okay? So there's this commitment that these concerts won't affect Flamengo and Fluminense games, right? Look, let me bring you another excerpt here. It's important for us. Did you see the interview with José Boto on Memo Cash? He gave an interview there on Memo Cash.
É,
Flamengo TV, I invite you to subscribe to Flamengo TV. And the interview with José Boto on Memo Cash was really good, really good. I wanted to talk here specifically about the issue involving the Russians, and I'll bring some excerpts from that interview into our program. But José Boto talked about negotiating with the Russians. Flamengo is interested in the deal, interested in getting into the negotiation and signing Luiz Henrique, and José Boto talked about that, about negotiating with the Russians. Let's follow along here, check out what José Boto says about this negotiation with the Russians, which is what Flamengo needs to do to sign Luiz Henrique.
Quite a lot. First, dealing with the Russians is not easy. It's not easy. Then there was a big time difference, bigger than with England.
That's it. He's talking about the Carrascal negotiation, but it also applies to Luiz Henrique, because if Flamengo is to sign Luiz Henrique, they'll have to negotiate with the Russians from Zenit. So he's talking about how difficult it is to negotiate with the Russians.
Then they tell us one thing one day, we think that's it, and the next day they change everything. Then there's the difficulty of the economic sanctions, which make money transfers difficult. Then we had to involve another club to make the deal, and that was the most difficult one and the one that took the longest. Last year, in the middle of the year, it was the first negotiation we started, and it was the last one we finished.
That's true, that's true. Samuel Lino was also a pretty significant deal, right?
Yes, it was easy. Was this one smooth? Yes, it was. Atletico de Madrid is a club, actually, with someone that Cero has known for many years, and it was a simple thing.
But that's, let's say, an advantage you have because you're a European with experience in the European market, you know all the ins and outs, and that ends up making the whole process easier for Flamengo. It's an advantage.
Traveling, right?
Unlike with the domestic market?
So regarding the European market, definitely, right? The fact that I've worked at 4 clubs in Europe, I know there's no club. If John Mosada leaves tomorrow, you have to talk to someone no matter which club it is, right? Yes, the internet actually, you know. I know someone there and I can reach them directly. So that makes things easier, cheaper, because we don't need intermediaries to handle the negotiations. Yes.
And I can easily reach those people.
And I can easily reach the players' agents as well, and that means I don't have as much need to travel to close the deals. But on the other hand, and this isn't meant as a criticism of anyone, when I worked in Europe and wanted to close something here in Brazil, I used to travel a lot to Brazil.
Yes, you came here a lot.
Yeah, because I didn't have that proper knowledge nor the trust. I wanted to do things remotely.
Like you're criticizing Braz.
With the European market, perfect.
It wasn't a criticism of Braz, right, guys? Now, he was talking about an important situation with the Russians who say one thing one day, another thing the next, and there's the difficulty of paying and receiving. Russian football, the restrictions there involving the embargoes, the banks, the financial sanctions, the war in Ukraine, all that stuff. So, this whole Russia situation makes everything much more difficult. That's why negotiating to sign Luiz Henrique wouldn't be that easy, right? Besides the high costs, it would be very difficult. If the deal for Carrascal was difficult for Flamengo even when they had the money to buy, imagine if they don't want to sell and Flamengo wants to sign Luiz Henrique and still tries to get a better price. It would be very difficult. That's the reality.
É,
He also talked about the relationship with President Luiz Eduardo Baptista BAP. Let me share this with you. Look, he's talking about his relationship with BAP. Take a look.
Excellent.
Excellent relationship. Look.
It's a relationship where many times we don't agree. And that's great. It's great, but we don't agree. I don't think that's right. Or he doesn't think what I propose is right.
But it's a conversation every day.
Not that we talk every day. Sometimes I get the feeling that people think BAP put me here and that I do whatever I want in the club by myself. No. We have daily contact with him. And during that period when news was coming out, BAP was at the training center to fire José Boto. Yes, we even joked and laughed about it because sometimes he hadn't even come into my office yet and it was already on social media and everything. And we even made fun of it, as they say here. We joked about those situations. They'd say, look, President Lazio is firing me and I don't even know what's going on here. We have an excellent relationship. He knows what I think is best for the club. I know what he wants for the club. I try, President.
I don't know if you're firing me, and I don't know.
I have to give my opinion on the best way to achieve his goals for the club. And it's an excellent relationship. Every day now we'll spend 2 hours here sitting and talking. Very good. Very good. Boto, thank you very much.
Look, sensational. Sensational. Tomorrow, early in the morning, I'll share a few more moments as well. You can watch the full Mango cast on Flamengo TV. It's there with João Guilherme. Fantastic interview by João with José Boto, the football director, and without that censorship. Oh, because he works at Flamengo. No censorship. He talked about Russian football, about the difficulty of negotiating to sign players. Flamengo is going to have a hard time. It's tough to sign Luiz Henrique or any player in Russian football, especially the expensive ones. And on top of that, he also talked about his relationship with BAP, with Luiz Eduardo Baptista BAP. He and José Boto. Boto discussed their relationship, mentioning people were saying BAP was coming there to fire him, and Boto even joked with BAP, "Are you here to fire me? I don't know." So, some very interesting quotes there. Earlier we mentioned that he said Leonardo Jardim was an adaptable coach who adjusts to the squad he has. He doesn't want the squad to play his way. He finds a way to play with the pieces he has, and that's extremely important, right? I also want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications by clicking the bell, and leave a cool like on the video. Also subscribe to the Momento Paparazzo channel. It's very important for you to subscribe. It really helps our work. And besides that, I remind you that you can get the jerseys, black diamonds, you can get mango caps, official Flamengo products. Look, all of that is available at the YouTube shopping store. You can find Flamengo's new watch, which I showed you earlier. the 4-title championship watch, the 4-time Libertadores watch. You can also find it officially here at Flamengo's store on YouTube inside Shopee. It's always here. You can get Mango's official products. Besides that, also the new jersey 2026. White jersey, white number 1 jersey, and also the red and black jersey. That's it. A big hug. Thank you very much for your company. Flamengo greetings. This is Flamengo. Thanks.